But wait, there's more. There's Dudley Moore, the Arthur soundtrack album. You know he's dead. He's dead, and she's Liza Minnelli. So, you know, you ever been to? I'm insinuating that she has a substance abuse problem. If you didn't catch my subtle humor. Yeah. Today was 50 cent, or let's say half price day. We won't say 50-cent day at the record store. The reason, and it wasn't a record store, it's a thrift store. This is a different thrift store than I usually go to, but I used to go to it all the time. And it's way out there. So, and on Thursdays, they have the records, not DVDs, CDs, DVDs, records. They got all that stuff for half price. And they're cash only. That's great. I don't mind at all. I used to go there all the time. And when I lived closer to it. But, let me get a drink of that. Refreshing, our new sponsor, Fresca. Anyway, cassettes, records, CDs, I think they're like $1. CDs might be $2. But anyway, on Thursday, half price, right? So I go in there, I make my selections, and bring everything up to the counter. And the lady there, I get like 23 records, right? Because they're half price. I'm no idiot. It's a 17-mile drive up there. I'm not screwing around. I got a little cash. And I got long green cash. The real thing. Okay, but and then she rings it up, and she's like, you understand that we don't take credit cards. So when I ring this up, I can't take it off there. I absolutely cannot, because she's not doing it on a computer. She's doing it on an old-style adding machine, which is really just the thing with a paper feed knob. Here's the deal. You can hit plus or you can hit minus. You can take that minus off there as easily as you put it on there. I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm not saying that. We have to be... These thrift stores that we go to, there's only 7 or 8 in the entire East Texas area. And I'm not talking about Nacogdoches because that's 30 miles up there. I'm talking about my area. Within 15 miles of where I'm living, there's 7 or 8 stores total. You got to smooth those relationships over. You don't want to piss anybody off. You don't want to get banned from the store. You want to just keep those trade negotiations going and keep the relations good. Okay, so she's ringing it up, and she says, that'll be $24.50, something like that. And I'm like, half price day, right? And she said, yep. These are half price. These records are $2. The records are $1. Okay, and I'm like, I can't pay $24.50 for these records. These are half price. This is $1. And she's like, that's $2. And I'm like, there's a sign back there. Just go. It's covered up by DVDs, a wall of DVDs, but the sign is there, right? So she calls somebody, I don't know, on her phone, and she's like, yeah, you're right. Because what she wanted me to do was still pay like the $24.50, but just to take half of the records. That won't do. That's not the reason I did this. So it turns out I was right. I tell you I'm right. When am I not right? But so everything's fine. $12.99 for the 50-cent records, and that's, what is this? What am I doing? All good. So I got that record, that Arthur soundtrack, which had the hit Christopher Cross hit. It also has a bunch of, even though I've seen, this is probably my favorite movie, and I've seen it about 50 times, I don't remember a Nicolette Larson song or a Stephen Bishop or an Ambrosia song in the movie. I'll have to check it out, but I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure at all about that. I have to investigate. Sha-na-na. The night is still young. Now, they were on, and this record is coming apart too. Look at that. They were on Kama Sutra Records back in the days. This was the early days, probably early 70s, when they were still, original, edgy, different. This was before the American Graffiti and Happy Days ruined the 50s as we knew them. George Lucas, again, ruining our culture. But for the first time, or maybe right after THX 1138, where he tried to ruin science fiction that time? Yes. Now, Bobby V, Just Today. Alright? Subtitled, More Today Than Yesterday, Less Today Than Tomorrow. Maybe Just Today, Beautiful People. Now, this is Bobby V who sang The Night Has 1,000 Eyes. You know, I could put a clip in here, but do you know how many copyright claims I got on yesterday's video? 3 or 4. I was shocked that video is still up, and it might not be. Anyway, Bobby V. Pride of the V family. Right. And I may already have this. I'm not certain, but I'm not uncertain. I'm somewhere between certain and uncertain. It's a weird, weird area. All right, Foster Brooks, The Lovable Lush. Now, Foster Brooks, I think I have this record. Anyway, it's okay. It's a great, you got to have it twice, as far as I'm concerned. Well, this guy, he's left us. But Mr. Foster Brooks was a comedian, in mostly a lounge comedian in, let's say, the 50s, 60s, 70s, and into the 80s, possibly as far as into the 90s. But it got very unfashionable, because Foster Brooks's entire bit was pretending to be stinking drunk everywhere he went. He was on the Carson Show, he had specials, he had albums. But let's say in the 90s, it got pretty unfashionable to walk around stumbling pretending to be drunk. Last time I saw Foster Brooks, I heard him actually, was probably the mid-90s. And he was doing an erectile dysfunction commercial on the radio late at night during Coast to Coast. And he was shilling these dick pills. Mr. Foster Brooks. And he wasn't acting drunk. He was saying, I'm Foster Brooks. Many men have this problem. And he passed away probably in the, I'd say, late 90s, early 2000s. He's gone. Never to drink again. But I say he was pretty funny. If you watch those old Carson shows with him on there, or the Dean Martin roast, he was on almost every Dean Martin roast. Up there pretending to be just stinking blind, just unspeakably drunk, and hilarious, because that used to be funny. Comedians lost their gig. I mean, this was an art form. This was the equivalent of Bill Dana's racist Jose Jimenez jokes. After that became unfashionable, he didn't have a job. You need that. All right. Now, this record, I was on Discogs one night looking at it, on one of the dealers, and I saw this record at like 50 cents, and I'm like, I gotta get this record. And while I have it in my cart, some other dick buys it, and it's gone. How does that happen? Doesn't matter, because I got it. And more, I have more than this, as Brian Ferry might say. This is Senator Everett McKinney Dirksen's Dirk. Gallant Men, Stories of the American Adventure. It's on Capitol Records. This is the stereo version. And I said, when I'm going through the stacks and I'm picking out the records, I'm saying, I'm putting aside the ones, and then I found that I had also put aside the mono version of the same album. Strange. Right? And I may have this one. I don't know. Because what I do is I confuse and conflate memories, my current life, with memories of my childhood. And not only my childhood, the childhood of other people I don't even know. It's Sean Cassidy. This is featuring Dadu Ron Ron. I know for a fact that one or two or three of my sisters possibly had this album. No, I tell you what, one sister had it. The other was a big Leif Garrett and Bay City Rollers fan, and the others were, my other sisters were too old to appreciate it. One sister had kids by the time this album came out. The other sister, I don't know, she was working at Western Auto, driving a Ford Granada, dating all the cops in town, allegedly. Anyway, this has Dadu Ron Ron, Morning Girl, I Want to Be With You. I believe that's the Eric Carmen, Raspberries song. And let's see, That's Rock and Roll. That's also an Eric Carmen song. Okay? Taking Care of My Baby. Be My Baby. These are old 60s songs. That's Rock and Roll was a big hit for him, and his probably biggest hit was Hey Deanie, which was also an Eric Carmen song, featured on his album Change of Heart. It's true. I wouldn't lie. Now this I got basically for the cover, but the album is in good shape. I don't know that I'll ever listen to it, because this is Wrapped Up in Cash, and Johnny Cash's greatest hits performed by the Nashville Fiddles. Check this out, though. Check out that album. It's a chick wrapped up in cash. This is probably the, I'd say the Goldfinger era, you know, kind of novelty chicks with money. I don't know. Nashville Fiddles, Wrapped Up in Cash. And this is, it's in really good shape, and it's on the, whatever label it's on. Sertron Corporation Music Division. This one, you see these things in the old days, and it turns out this is volume 19, so they was doing these every year, right? Wouldn't do it these days, because they'd be busy telling people the truth about the Santa, the real story about how he is and what really is going on. The SJWs, they don't like, well, they may not like Santa. I don't know. I don't know the story. Anyway, True Value, I have these Happy Holidays albums, but this being volume 19. Okay, RCA Special Products. Okay, and this has real people singing, like Roger Whittaker, Robert Shaw Chorale, not the Robert Shaw from Jaws. It'd be funny if he was singing Carol of the Bells and halfway through he gets eaten by a shark. Doll's eyes, roll back in his head. Bing Crosby, Do You Hear What I Hear? Is that the name of that? Do you hear what I hear? The Carpenters, Merry Christmas, Darling. Arthur Fiedler, White Christmas. Julie Andrews with Andre Previn and his orchestra, Joy to the World. Willie Nelson, What a Merry Christmas This Could Be. Jim Reeves, Jingle Bells. Peggy Lee, The Christmas Song. See, I would do the Peggy Lee Christmas song, but I would say, so this is Christmas, huh? Is that all there is? Christmas? She's so bitter about everything, and yet that was a huge hit. How can you be so ungrateful about your life? Didn't you see American Beauty? No, you didn't, because you were dead. The last 5 minutes of American Beauty, that explains the whole thing about life. And then people pretend that what's his name didn't really win the Academy Award because he got disgraceful. And that he won Best Actor. Spacey, that thing won Best Picture. Who are we really fooling? It's a great movie. They don't talk about it because, whatever thing they ran him out of Hollywood for, I don't know. Okay. Tony Orlando and Dawn, Greatest Hits. And this has all the stuff on it. All the things. Tie a Yellow Ribbon. Has anybody seen My Sweet Gypsy Rose? Your Lady, I don't know that. Who's in the Strawberry Patch with Sally? I don't know that. You say the sweetest things? Stepping out, I'm gonna boogie tonight. I've since filler. Candida. Knock 3 times. What Are You Doing Sunday? Summer Sand. And Look in My Eyes, Pretty Woman. That was a hit. I can't speak for half of this album. I can't attest to it. It was on Arista, though. The same label as the Bay City Rollers. And possibly Sean Cassidy. I'd have to look, but I'm not going to. And Eric Carmen. Arista. Alright, still in the shrink. I know it's August, but I'm stocking up for Christmas. I'm saying when Christmas gets here, I'll have Christmas music. I have a ton of it. I won't know where any of it is, or what I have, but I'll have so much. Carpenter's Christmas Portrait. Still in the shrink. A&M. That looks basically unplayed. Well, that's very nice. Very nice indeed. Tom Jones close up. Close sideburns. Rocking it. Witch Queen of New Orleans. Tired of Being Alone. That's the Al Green song. Woman, You Took My Life. If. That's the Brett song. The young new Mexican puppeteer. I don't know what that is. All I ever need is you. You've got a friend. I won't be sorry to see Suzanne again. Kiss an angel good morning. What? Anyway, Tom Jones, big star. Big man. So special. Glenn Campbell, Rhinestone Cowboy. Now, do I have this? I don't know. I am reminded of the Donnie and Marie bit with Glenn Campbell, where they did the James Bond parody, where he did Rhinestone Finger, where he sang Rhinestone Finger. You couldn't cancel that Donnie and Marie show fast enough, in my opinion. 70s variety. Man, they bring a lot of stuff back, but that's 100 miles of monkey ass, is what that was. Speaking of which, Marie Osmond, okay, in my little corner of the world, these people, you know what type of people I'm talking about. Just, it's like they put out an album every week. It's like you always will find an Osmonds album that you don't have. Some combination of Osmonds was putting out an album for the entire 1970s. Check it out. Now, there were two albums there, and they were both country albums, and they had these great country hits from the original stars. One of them, I didn't recognize the label. The other one was K-Tip. Now, the original, the unrecognizable one, had these great country hits performed by the original artist. But you look on the back of it, and not this one, but you look on the back of it, and it turns out they're new recordings from the original artist. We don't want that. Okay, even though the original artists now are dead, it was re-recordings of things like Help Me Make It Through the Night. There was one by Kenny Price, and there was some other... Anyway, it was like 80s rehashes of these people's original hits when it'd be just as easy to go get the original hits. If you ever look on the internets, like if you're on Spotify, and you've heard a song so many times that you know when something is off. Like I was in Goodwill the other day, and they're playing, I believe it's probably Sirius XM, and they're playing a Foreigner song. But I'm like, this is weird, because this is a re-record of a Foreigner song, and it's I Want to Know What Love Is, right? But it couldn't be the original singer. It sounded strange, and there's no need for that. Yeah, okay, you made a bad record deal, and you're not getting royalties, so you want to re-record it, so you actually make money off your own song. But that's not our fault. That's why there's a very bad version of Fool If You Think It's Over from Chris Rea that he recorded in 1988 that's popping up on all his greatest hits packages, but is not the original song. And it's the one they play on Sirius XM. It's not good. But this, apropos of nothing, is 20 great country hits. This is a K-Till. Okay? And this has Don't Squeeze My Charmin by Charlie Walker, Down Yonder by Del Wood, right? Am I right? Down in the Corner of Love, Buck Owens, There's a Big Wheel, Stand with Tony Cooper and Wilma Lee, Tiger Woman, Claude King. Claude King did Wolverton Mountain. About, what is his name? Clifton Clowes and his wild daughter. He's handy with a knife, that Clifton Clowes. Cowboy Copas, Alabama. He's not doing no re-recording of that. Getting a plane with Patsy Cline. That's what happens to you, pal. Hope you had a good time. Why Baby Why by George Jones. Release Me by Dolly Parton. I believe that belongs on Dolly Parton's greatest hits. Alright. Now, you're a Tijuana Brass fan, are you? Well, me, maybe, a bit. This is an album I didn't have, and I'm not a collector per se of their albums. It's just that the albums will come up, and I'll say, yes, I approve, or pass. Usually I haven't passed on any that I already had. This is the perennial Tijuana Brass Christmas album. Okay, again, Christmas is coming in 3 or 4 months, and we're going to have all this music and no time to listen to it because I don't get Christmas off. I work Christmas Day. I'm in the food service industry, and the place I work in, never closes. Never, never closes. Not Thanksgiving, not New Year's, not Christmas, not Easter. The only time this place is ever going to close, you remember when that chicken plant there was shut down because the ICE agent came in and arrested 700 people? I'm just saying, what would take my place to close? I think that would. Glenn Campbell Greatest Hits. Good stuff. By the time I get to Phoenix, Galveston, Where's the Playground, Susie? Dreams of the Everyday Housewife, Burning Bridges, Gentle on My Mind, Wichita Lineman, Honey Come Back, not Baby Come Back, not Lover Come Back, Honey Come Back, and Try a Little Tenderness. Okay, this was just for me. It's coming apart, but I kind of dig the piece, the Rhapsody in Blue. It's a Gershwin piece. And this is a Joseph Koons Symphony for Blues. Right. Now you says to yourself, I've got this particular weird fetish. I have this, I'm not talking about Quentin Tarantino here, that's a different thing. Well, liking the feet, whatever. You're weird. But you make good movies for the most part. Okay? Although this is not a square. This is a rectangle. Tip. Hey, this is a Golden Barbershop Ballads. With all these crazy things like the Four Horsemen, the Gala Lads, the Eastern Airs, the Rascals, the Platonics, the Suntones, the Four Pitchhikers, Rhythm Counts, Sidewinders, Lads of Enchantment, and the Eastern Airs also, doing their barbershop weird songs. And this one, it's on Decca. It is in fantastic clean shape because no one listens to barbershop music. And if you do, you listen to it once. Here, though, I've got K-Till, all original hits, all original artists, star power. You gotta love these K-Till compilations, and even if you don't love them, you still gotta love them. Because you got Help Is On The Way by Little River Band. Christine 16 by Kiss. You're not gonna hear that one on the radio. Man. Angel in Your Arms by Hot. Do You Want to Get Funky With Me by Peter Brown. Boogie Fever. The Silver Slowdown by the Floaters. Undercover Angel by Alan O'Day. He wrote Angie Baby for Helen Reddy, and he wrote Rock and Roll Heaven for the Righteous Brothers, which for my money is the worst song to ever hit #1 in the rock and roll era, and that takes some doing, mister. That takes some effort. And Alan O'Day is now dead. Rest in peace, that's what I'm saying. You're not going to catch me speaking of the dead, unless we're talking about the Grateful Dead. And that's the post-Jerry Garcia area of the Grateful Dead. When they should have gave up, and for all intents and purposes, they kind of did. Okay. Star Wars theme by Miko. Cold as Ice by Foreigner. Just Remember I Love You by Firefall. Heaven on the Seventh Floor by Paul Nicholas. It's Sad to Belong by England Dan and John Ford Coley. These are all in one album. You Made Me Believe in Magic by Bay City Rollers. On and On by Stephen Bishop. I Go Crazy by Paul Davis. Isn't It Time by the Babies. This is a gift. This is a magnificent treasury of golden classics. Unfortunately, it's on K-Tel, so it probably sounds like crap. Still, we're living, that's the era of AM radio. And it didn't sound good anyway. Who's zooming here? Who? Huh? Something. Marie Osmond, Paper Roses. Look how adorable Marie Osmond was in her time. This was before, she blew up to international stardom and needed to go to the Weight Watchers and had the 8 kids and the divorce and the weird thing with her head. Supposedly she's look, I dated some bipolar women. I've been accused of being bipolar. I've dated women on anti-schizophrenic medication. Hey? If she's all Mary Todd Lincoln, in the head, yeah, it's not your fault. It's chemical imbalance. MGM. It's on MGM Records. But also Collab. The Osmonds private label. Collab. What does it mean? Who knows? No one knows. It can't be known. There's no way of finding out. Donnie and Marie. I'm leaving it all up to you. Look how adorable they both were. She more than he, because I don't find teenage boys attractive. Teenage girls, aesthetically pleasing. This was before he got on the disco train and tried to dress like Elton John. That's a reference to an earlier episode. You should be watching them all, people. Every one of them. Again, MGM, Collab Records, no one knows. All right, now this one, I wouldn't say it's a grail. It's far from a grail. It's just one of those things. It's very interesting, and I used to have this on cassette in the 80s. During the actual 80s, it was an actual cassette, and I was actually there. You millennials wouldn't understand. Miko, Pop Goes to the Movies. It's still in the shrink. It's still got the $8.99 and $8.49 price tags on it because it was marked down or marked up. I don't know. And then a $2.99 price tag. Or was it $7.99? There's a very confusing lineage on this. Anyway, it was a bunch of themes on Arista, a bunch of themes to movies, and they're orchestrated in a disco pop type of fashion, following the Hooked on Classics mold. It's actually pretty good. It's got like stuff like the Gone with the Wind theme and a whole bunch of crap on there. Pink Panther, As Time Goes By. It's got Windmills of Your Mind. That's great. One of my favorite songs. Well, look who's just been talking for half an hour and wasted all your precious time. And I just talk and talk and talk. Talk. That's what I do. I'm Mr. Talk. Look who's talking. And no clips. I might not even do an intro on this. I don't have time. What am I doing?